Hey guys, we are here today with a really awesome mama, entrepreneur, and just all around really cool lady who is going to tell us about a lot of different things. So I wrote a whole list of different things that we're going to talk about. So buckle up. This might be a 4-hour conversation. Just kidding. It won't be that long. But this is Jaclyn. So Jaclyn, I want you to introduce yourself so that everyone knows how awesome you are.
Well, I appreciate it. Well, yeah, I'm Jaclyn, and I am a stay-at-home mom with my 3-year-old son, and I'm currently expecting my second son, either end of April, early May, depending when he wants to come. And then I formerly was a first grade teacher, as well as like college stage in the fitness and wellness arena with Gretchen. So we met when I was in college, and then that kind of trickled through grad school and all of that. And then when I had my son, I realized I just did not want to work. And I wanted to be home with him and spend time with him and really focus my energy on that before he started school and was off doing his own thing. So now I stay home with him and I teach English online to English language learners. And then with that, I started a blog, I guess now 2.5 years ago. So I do that as well and just kind of enjoying being home.
And you know what I really love? I love that I'm a stay at home mom, but there's still all these little projects because I don't know if you're like me, but I kind of went the same route. Like, okay, I've got my teaching career. Then I had a kid and I'm like, whoa, how is everybody doing this? Right? Like, how is everyone
Yeah,
in daycare? For the people that can do it well, like I wish I
oh,
could.
yeah, more power to them.
No,
That's amazing.
no. But if you're like me, it's like all of a sudden you realize like not only am I a mom, but I need to still have that part of me,
Oh, yeah.
like the teaching. So how long did it take to figure out like, oh, I still need my own projects. I still need something that's me.
I think before I even quit, I'd already signed on to start teaching because that was a big thing. I feel like when you become a new mom, you get lost in being a mom. And that is so consuming that you kind of forget who you are in those first, especially with your first child, those like first 6 months or so, or even a year or two. It really just depends. So I told my husband, like, I have to have something of my own. Even if it's getting up in the mornings, working, like I have to have my own thing because my identity just can't be I'm just a mom at home.
Right, right.
you
And
know?
I'm very empowering of like, we all know we're not just a mom, but
Right.
I also really know that feeling of being just a mom. And it can be something as simple as you have like a really solid morning routine that makes you feel like yourself. But I feel like every mom needs that part that makes you feel like yourself, or you lose your identity. And this is when sometimes you even start losing like the mindset of taking care of yourself. And I think I see a lot of those clients who are like,
Yeah.
wait, what do I
Right.
do now? And now you have a different body, a different everything. And yeah.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. So, yeah, that was something that was like a non-negotiable for me because I already knew like I just have to have my own thing, which I mean, yeah, it doesn't have to be money related or work related, but just something to make you feel like you, especially in the beginning stages.
Right. And has that been pretty successful? Like, do you feel like you do have something that makes you feel like yourself?
Yeah,
Most
no, I'm so glad I went that route because I mean, with teaching at home, it's really just when I want to do it. So if we have a busy season, I don't have to work as much, or if we don't have much going on, I can work more, but it's still something of my own. And then now my son being 3, he sees me doing something of my own and having that. And I don't know, I just think it's good for them to also see you still doing stuff that you enjoy and that you're passionate about and not just fully consumed with just them, that they see both sides. So I'm glad that I've continued it and like continuing to do
Yeah. Oh, I love that so much.
it.
Have there been any new challenges since being pregnant, or have you shifted any focus for when this baby comes?
um I'm really just doing the same thing. I know once this baby's here, the first like 4 months are probably going to be a wash because You literally are running on no sleep. And with nursing, if you choose to nurse, that's like a full-time job as is. So doing all of that, like my husband already knows, like those first 3 to 4 months are just survival, basically. Taking care of the toddler, keeping the newborn alive, and just surviving. So we're pretty go with the flow with each season, and we just kind of figure it out and do what works for us and not be so hard on ourselves, really.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Every
You
mom,
know?
someone needed to hear that. Someone needed to hear that. Like, don't be so hard on yourself. So,
Yeah. And just know, don't set like such high expectations. Like, I already know I'm not getting up at 4 to teach. Like, I already know it. If I feel good after a month and want to do it, sure. But if not, then that's okay too. But
right.
I just feel like that's worse when you put so much pressure on yourself with so much change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you guys have not caught her blog, she's got a great blog for moms. I feel like anyone obviously benefits from it, but you have a lot of really good things in there for moms, even into like fitness and pregnancy. And I know that recently we had talked a little bit about keeping this idea of being body positive, which is my thing,
Hmm.
loving your body as it goes through these changes. So you have a fitness background, as do I, and we've both gone through the whole flux of pregnancy body, post pregnancy body, and that can be really mind messing, right? Like it can
Right.
really mess with your mind. So, what are some things that you have done or what has worked for you? Talk to me a little bit about that.
I think I mean, everyone, it has to kind of click in your own timing, I feel like, because people can try to make it register, but until you get to a point in your life where something happens where it just resonates with you. And for me, it was pregnancy, my first one, where I realized, wow, like being healthy is so much more than a number on the scale or what my weight is. Like it truly does not matter because for those 10 months, all that matters is like I'm giving him what he needs. I'm taking care of my body. I'm strengthening it. I'm getting ready for childbirth. And so that was the big shift for me was being pregnant, which
Yeah.
I'm so thankful for because before that, I feel like it's just society, just the pressure of what society tells you is healthy and fit and all of that. And that's what consumes you. And until you go through something where you don't have that light bulb go off, it's hard to really shift to a health mindset as opposed to physical. And now I just don't, even the physical side of it is just out the window. Like
Well,
as long as the health is there, then I mean, I'm gonna look how I'm gonna look. Like it just is what it is. So that was a big turning point for me. And another thing is just realizing, like, especially as a woman, you're going to go through so many changes and seasons with your body. And at like long term, it's going to fluctuate, but you can always feel good in your body. So that part that doesn't have to go away just because you're 20 pounds heavier or 10 pounds lighter, whatever the case may be.
mhm.
So that's really my big focus now, which thank goodness.
So do you ever have these moments where, because I think I used to, even before like I kind of entered this phase of like health is more, and I've always known it and I've always thought like, yeah, health is more, but I definitely think back in the day, I was even kind of preaching from a standpoint of like looks first. Like
Right,
we're gonna work our biceps so they look this way.
right.
And I think we're just totally consumed by what's given to us. And social media is the word, even though I love social media, don't get
Oh
me wrong,
yeah. Oh yeah.
as
Oh
a
yeah.
it helps me so much, but people do get really consumed by that. But there are people that have not had that light bulb go off yet, and
Right.
they've gone through pregnancy. Maybe they're several years post pregnancy, and they're just still so consumed with what they see when they look in the mirror. What is some advice you might have for somebody who has not had the light bulb go off? Like maybe things they could do or anything.
Yeah. I think a big thing for me is like in fitness with teaching, they always say like fake it till you make it. Like if you're having the worst day, you're still going to show up and act like, it's the best day of your life and teach a class or whatever the case may be. Same with like teaching kids. You're not going to, if you're down, you're not going to bring that energy to kids or whatever. But I think the big thing is just creating like positive affirmations or things that you're saying to yourself. And even if that at the time you're starting, you don't believe it, the more you just keep telling yourself whatever you want yourself to hear, eventually you're going to start believing it. And it's kind of just like training your mind to shift over to where you want it to be. And it's like a muscle. Like if you're not going to practice doing it every day, then it's never going to that point. But if it's something you really want to change and you're practicing it every day, eventually it's just going to start being how you think and how you view yourself. So I think that for me personally, that's really big. It's just being grateful for my body, what it can do, telling myself like how amazing it is, and just repeating it.
Right. And you're so right. Please don't think that we do this and feel like we're being 100% truthful
Oh
all the
yeah.
you'll feel like you're faking it at first, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Until
Um,
you genuinely can get to that point. But I feel like it's okay to not feel that way in the beginning because it's a process and a journey. And that's part of the fun part is learning as you go and enjoying the process, and I don't know, like everything you learn once you get there, you're so thankful that you went through it. But yeah, you kind of just have to make yourself believe it and do it and be consistent with it until it just becomes who you are and how you naturally start thinking, which is hard to change. Very hard.
oh, it is. Our mind is so powerful, which is why, having these little tips and tricks for your mindset, like she said, the affirmations, that will help you kind of hack your brain because your brain
Right.
really will tell you what you want to hear. And
Right.
I guarantee you've had moments where it's been much easier to like lay in bed and not listen to whatever your brain is trying to convince you of, or different things like that. So you
Right.
really having that fake it till you make it mentality sounds so phony and weird. Sorry, I'm having like my head.
Let it
This is
go.
the bad thing about video. If this is a podcast, no one would know. Um,
I know.
get behind my hoodie.
I
But
know.
yeah, so that mindset is just super important. But I want to talk too, since we are just like going down the pregnancy and fitness road here. Talk to me about fitness during pregnancy. How hard do you work? Do you start working the first trimester? Do you push through days when you feel sick? Anything like that?
So I will say my first one was a lot easier than this one. This one, my first trimester, kind of took me by surprise at how awful I felt. So I probably didn't work out for like 2 months with him in the first trimester. And at first it really bothered me, but then I had to like kind of like knock some sense into myself and realize that like this is 2 months out of your whole life. You're going to be okay. Like it is not going to make or break you. You're listening to your body. You don't feel good. It's okay. You will get back in it. So this one was different. But once I started feeling good, my main goal with pregnancy is just to move. Just move my body in whatever way I'm feeling. If that's a walk, if that's yoga, lifting weights, just some type of movement, and to not be so like intense with it because I used to have that mentality of like all or nothing. I'm either going to go all out or it's a scratch. I didn't do anything for the day, you know? And now if I go on a 30-minute walk with my husband, I'm like, yes, I went on a 30-minute walk. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So that is my main goal with pregnancy. And I do try to be really consistent with it because, like I said, I do want to take care of my body and, give him what he needs and be strong and able and make the recovery process easier. So for me, it's more that long term mentality than like just having to work out just because that's what people are telling me I need to do. But like I said, it's mainly just moving my body is my number one goal, which is going to stay as my number one goal.
I love that. There's so many people who they have that light bulb moment and then they get pregnant as well, or they have a
Right.
light bulb moment between pregnancies, and all of a sudden, like it's a totally different world. Like their body's changing, and you're right. There's a tendency for us to, and I say us because I'm including myself in this, go into the all right, bring on the fast food, the hamburgers, the couch. Like I'm pregnant. That's my new reality, and I'm just gonna wait until afterward. Um,
Right.
yeah, and so for
Which
someone
then
that
it makes it harder afterwards because you're not used to it. Like I think with my son, my older son, the recovery was so much easier for me because that was my norm during pregnancy and before pregnancy. So once it becomes your norm or just part of your day to day, even going on a walk every day, then it's so much easier to recover and get back into it because it's not something you're thinking about. It's just part of your lifestyle and your day to day. So it's more of like that long term mindset of, okay, well, if I take these 10 months off, like that's fine, but it's just going to be harder for me to start implementing it after. So I don't know.
anything that you stop doing for 10 months is going to
Oh,
be
yeah.
so hard. I mean, okay, so maybe TMI, but I'm going there anyway. So, one of the things that doesn't happen for 10 months, plus if you're breastfeeding, like you don't have a period, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, how shocking. And I'm just speaking from, I'm like, that first period is a shock. All of a sudden, you're like, what do I do? What
Oh,
do
yeah.
I don't have tampons. I don't have pads. Like, where are those big pregnancy diapers? It's
Yeah.
the same thing with your body, like trying to go back into fitness. It has no clue what's going on. It's like, and then you're gonna crave the fast food more because
Right.
that's what your body knows and your mind knows, and it's that syncing of the mind.
Right.
But I love that you said it makes it harder on the other side.
Yeah. And it's just, I don't know. And then I feel like if you take the whole pregnancy off from just movement, it doesn't have to be like a specific workout or anything.
Right.
Then, what was I going to say? I just lost. This is pregnancy
It
brain.
happens. Oh, that's just brain for me.
I have a train of thought and then it goes completely out the window. Completely out the window. What
Soon
was I
that's
going to
gonna be
say?
the 2 kid brain because it still happens. Like,
Yeah.
wait, what? What kid needs a snack?
The no sleep of just method of running on. Well, I forgot what I was going to say. Scratch that. Literally left my mind. So
No
there's
worries.
that for you, real mom life.
It is, it is.
It is what
But
it
yeah,
is.
I mean, this idea of, and find that balance. And this happens a lot too. Like, obviously, if you have a day where you feel just like awful, don't work out. Lay on the
Oh
couch.
yeah,
If your doctor
yeah,
tells you to take bed rest, take bed rest. Like, but find that balance between totally off, giving up, because that is one side, unfortunately, of this whole
right,
positive thing is people are like, it doesn't matter. And that's hard for me because I'm like, your health actually matters.
right.
I want you to love your body, but I also want you to be healthy. And then you have that other side that's saying, like, go hard, do CrossFit until the day you deliver. And it's really hard to live in this in between space.
It is. And I think that's where most women struggle is balance, which I mean, I mean, I feel like even if you feel like you have a grasp on it, some days are a lot harder than others of just mentally being there. But I feel like when you can find that balance of giving yourself grace and not being hard on yourself, but also really implementing those habits and routines to keep that consistency, then that's where like the magic is. Because if it's just you can't be all out or nothing or beat yourself up if you miss something or if you don't have a perfect week, but finding the middle is hard because that's not what we see in the day to day,
Mm.
and so it's hard to think that way and
And
to
that's
stay
not,
in that mindset.
yeah, and that's not what like trends or gets
Right.
on the hashtag. It's like no one wants to talk about just being happy in the middle. And I think that's important to know that there is a space for that.
Right. And I do feel like it does take so much time and it takes so much work and really being consistent with yourself, which is hard too, because we're also programmed, I feel like, to have like we want that instant gratification, that instant fix, that instant solution, where a lot of times that's just not the case. And it's so much more rewarding when you really go through it and take the time and go on the journey. But that's not what a lot of people want, unfortunately. So
Mhm.
they don't get there because they just want it fast, and it takes time.
Right. Right. Oh my gosh. Yes, everything. But you were speaking my language there for a second when you talked about habits and routine. Tell me, what are some of your like non-negotiables when it comes to routines or habits?
I would say with pregnancy and not water. That's like my number one with health related. I will say, like, I feel like everyone can drink water. That's like the easiest thing you can switch out during your day. And I mean, it's so easy. Even my husband now drinks like way more water than he needs to, just because it's just easy. I mean, it's not one of those things you have to cut out. You have to do a major shift. So I definitely say water. I definitely say movement. I try to move like at least 5 times a week, just 30 minutes. I'm not I'm not doing anything crazy of like I gotta get this in, but some type of movement around 5 times a week. And then really just my mindset with food is just trying to eat nutritious foods, but I do not limit anything. So if I'm craving a bowl of cereal, I'm gonna have a bowl of cereal. If I want an ice cream sandwich, I do that, which I feel like for me personally prevents like the binging
Mhm.
mentality,
Yeah.
because if I restrict it and then I get it, then I just want more and more and more and more. As opposed to if I'm always allowing myself those things, then if I have a bowl of cereal, like no big deal. If I if I have a cookie, no big deal. So I
So,
really don't, there's really no habits with food. I don't think so. I'd
yeah.
really say those are my big ones, are water, movement. And then I do every day, I make sure I do like I read my Bible, I do gratitude, I do prayer and all of that, because I feel like I need to mentally
Yes.
start my day in a good space every day.
You do.
Because then it trickles down to everything else I do. So I always, always, always do like my mental side
Yeah.
of things, which only takes, I mean, like 10 minutes. It's not,
Doesn't take long. Do you
yeah.
typically do it in the morning, like pre when your one kid now gets up?
It kind of depends. If I have time, I will. But if he's already up, he'll just be eating breakfast and I'll do it.
Love it.
Because if I miss it, then it's just I'm not setting myself up, I feel like, for success on how I'm viewing things, and really just setting the day off like in a good
Mhm.
tone. So I just make sure I squeeze it in, no matter if it's when he's up, when he's asleep,
And at
getting
the
it in.
how old, he's 2 now, right? Or he
Free.
turned 3. Okay. He just
Yep.
turned 3, right? Like very
Yes.
okay. I was like, I figured I was like following
Yeah.
it. So I have, a 3 and a 1-year-old,
Yeah.
about to turn 4. And that's one thing that I think moms also need to give themselves grace on. I'm glad you touched on that. Is I do have to start my day with something for myself mentally. But this idea of doing everything like pre-kids waking up, that's not so easy for us with young kids because we can't exactly
Right.
say stay in bed or
Right. Right.
go play with this thing. Like they don't do that independent play thing well. They still need
Right.
mom. And so that's another place like I love the idea of getting it done in the morning. And I would challenge anyone to just, everyone says just try it for like 21 days. I think that's like what a
Right.
routine takes. And don't make it a big deal. Just plug into something and
Oh
whether
yeah.
Bible, say a prayer, maybe listen to a podcast,
Right.
read a nonfiction book, whatever it is. Just try it, but don't limit it to it has to happen against that all or nothing, right? Like, oh, I didn't get
Right.
my Instagram perfect moment sitting out on my dock with my coffee. Like, I don't have a dock, but
Yeah.
that'd be nice. Um, but let's say I do, I
Yeah.
didn't go outside and commune with nature in the morning. Well, because I was woken up at 5:30 by my 3.
Right. Right.
Give yourself that moment and get it done. Like all these routines that you're saying, I love that your philosophy is just check, like basically just put a check in the box.
Yeah.
Don't make sure it's perfect to earn the check.
Right. And it's more just to benefit you. I mean, even when like if I'm doing a prayer, I'll pray to myself when I'm walking my son to the park. And so he's not talking to me. I'm pushing the stroller and I'm thinking, wow, this is a great time to pray because he's not taking my attention and I have quiet time for a few minutes. Or when we travel in the car and he's taking a nap, wow, this is another great time to get that in. And just, it's the hard part is I feel like giving ourselves grace of knowing it's okay not to have it at the same time every single day and make it this big drawn out thing where it has to be the first hour of my day and it has to look like this, where you can make it into any moment or part of your day as long as you're just consistent with actually doing what you want to do, the actual act of whatever habit you want to create or instill, which is hard again because I feel like our society is very extreme on everything. So finding that balance is hard, and allowing yourself to not be perfect is hard too with
Absolutely.
creating it.
Right. Absolutely. I'm so inspired by hearing all this and talking with another mom, but a mom who's like really got it together, but not in the way that Instagram would have you think.
Right.
Like, that's what I think if you're a mom and you're listening to this right now, please let that be a takeaway. Like, this mom has it all together. And on Instagram, it does. Like, by the way, you do a great job. Like,
Oh, well, thank you.
she's on there with her kid, y'all. Like, first of all, some days I'm just like scrolling through Instagram. I'm just being real. I'll be like looking at Instagram. My kids are like running around without their pants on, and her kid's like learning to count with cereal. I
But
mean,
don't worry, the next day he's trying to go pee out in the front yard while there's cars passing
hey,
by.
nothing
So,
wrong with peeing in the front yard, right?
yeah.
I mean, for children, for children.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're not, where can they find you? First of all,
My public one is just the Bridwells.
the Bridwells.
The Bridwells.
The
Hmm.
Bridwells.
Yeah.
Bridwells, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And you can find her blog there. You can get on all of that.
Yeah. Everything's just our last name, the Bridwells. Yeah.
Fabulous. So if you are a mom, even if you're not a mom, but especially if you're a mom, and especially if you're a mom of littles, go follow her. She has great information, what we talked about today, but also if you're kind of in that space where you're wanting to be home with your kids and you don't really know how to bridge that gap, you actually have some good information on how you did that, right?
Yeah, in the beginning, I did kind of how I made that decision and what kind of pushed me to do that, which I mean, no change is easy. So,
Right. Right. And so if you're wondering like how she did that and how she got her mind together, and you might be thinking, well, I don't really want to teach English, but it doesn't matter what you want to do. If you have a goal of being home with your kids and you have an idea of what you want to do, you can use the same strategies.
oh, yeah,
You can use the same mindset. You can use the same you know, any of the ways that you got there. It doesn't have to be the same outcome, but you can.
right.
Well, thank you so much for chatting with me today. You guys go follow her, go check out her blog. She's amazing. And of course, you can always check my stuff out at gretchengag.com. And I will catch you next time on the Mimo Chat videocast.
Thank you.
Thank you.